Hello, Bookworm family! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Danny. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, please be sure to do that. It is at Danny's Book Corner 2018. And I will link that down below in the description box. So normally, as a part of that whole intro, I would say something along the lines of, make sure you turn on the notification bell because it's always a mystery when I post new videos. You guys have heard me say that a lot this year. Well, as we say goodbye to 2019, we say goodbye to that phrase. I am officially going to be posting a video a week in 2020. Hopefully, I can keep this up and do it every single week, but for sure going to do it starting off the new year and hopefully continuing on all year long. I'd love to be able to post a video a week for you guys because I did learn that while my subscriber number is not large, I have a lot of subscribers who are just not old enough to have a YouTube channel yet. So I've been on Instagram a lot lately, and I have parents messaging me saying that, or like Facebook as well, I have parents messaging me saying that their kids love watching my YouTube channel, which I think is awesome. And it does kind of reflect in the views, and I've always wondered why it didn't reflect in the subscribers, but that would explain why. So I am pretty happy about that, so I am going to start making a video a week, and hopefully you guys can tune in for all of those. So I am vlog styling this video right now, just because I am not feeling great. We have a realtor coming tomorrow to take pictures of the house, so my room's kind of like empty right now, so there really wasn't anything to like have in a background anyway. But also I didn't read a lot of books this month. I read a lot of audio, ebook, all that kind of stuff this month. I only read 2 actual physical books, but I did read 8 months. I did read 8 books total this month, so we are going to discuss those now for our last wrap-up of 2019. This is crazy to me, guys. I have a lot of new stuff coming in 2020, starting with I'm going to be doing a TBR game, a TBR raffle every month, so you guys know what I plan on reading that month, which I'm pretty excited about. I did record the first video of that already, so the intro is going to be a little like more standardized for that one when I do post that, and that video is going up on New Year's. I have my 2019 book journal wrap up for you guys, which will be posted probably, I'm going to say New Year's Eve. We'll probably post that one. And then I also have my 2020 book journal, which I am finishing up currently, like creating, and getting ready for the new year, and that will come out sometime in January as well. I will try to have a vlog style video once a month, where I kind of take you through my day or do something vlogish. I'm also hoping to get my nieces and nephew involved a little bit more because I know a lot of you guys like those videos, but hopefully finding more things bookish we can do together. My niece is not a big fan of reading, and my nephew is only 4, and my other niece is only she's gonna be 11 months old pretty soon, so, yeah, so, anyway, that's kind of the stuff that's coming up, but right now, let's get into the wrap-up for the last month of 2019. Here's December's 8 books that I read. So the first book that I read in December was Dinosaurs Before Dark. I'm actually going to move closer. I don't have my contacts in right now, and my cheat sheet is down here, so I'm just going to adjust my angle a little bit so I can see my cheat sheet. I did give this one 3 out of 5 stars. It is a Mary Pope Osborne book from the Magic Tree House series, and this is the very first book in the Magic Tree House series. So if you don't know what Magic Tree House is about, this is the book you should start with. But it is about a brother and sister, Jack and Annie, who stumble along a tree house where they say, I wish I could go there, and the treehouse takes them to wherever they're talking about in a book. So they open up a book about dinosaurs, and they say, I wish I could go there, and the treehouse takes them to back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and as you guys know, that was not a safe place for little kids, so they get themselves into quite a pickle. Did give this one 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely think I read this one before. I definitely read this one before when I was a kid. I didn't remember a ton about it, but I do know that I read it because I loved the Magic Tree House series, and I definitely read the first book. So I did give it 3 out of 5 stars for nostalgia, and just because it's a sweet little book series. I do love the Magic Tree House books. The next book I read, guys, I am so glad that this was in the last month because this was such a 5-star book for me, but it was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You guys know earlier in this year I read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it was so amazing. It was a 5-star. And I love Taylor Jenkins Reid's audiobooks. They are phenomenal. They have multiple cast readings. They're really in depth and have a tone of like an interview style, and it's just, they're beautiful. They're works of art. They are just so amazing. I just love them. But yes, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is about an old classic actress who is now aged, and she wants to do an interview very specifically with one journalist who's kind of like bottom of the totem pole for her journalism career. And so Evelyn decides to pick her to do her interview, where in it she reveals that she is a bisexual woman despite having 7 husbands in her life, and kind of goes into the story behind each of her 7 husbands and why they were there when actually her whole life she was in love with a woman. So it was kind of a very interesting, I was not expecting it, book. So I'm sorry if that gave you some spoilers. I'm sure if I read the description, I would have known that, but I didn't. I just went into it full force because it was Taylor Jenkins Reid's and I wanted to read that. But I did love it, and the audiobook is absolutely phenomenal. If you guys have a chance, go check that out on Audible because it is fabulous. The next book I read was Stage Fright on a Summer Night, also a Mary Pope Osborne Magic Treehouse book. I just really needed like short audiobooks. You know what the thing was, is I actually had the stomach bug this month. It was bad. And what I needed was I just needed a couple of books while I had the stomach bug to just lay in bed and be like, ugh. And listen to on audio. And one of the easiest book series to find on audio is the Magic Treehouse books. The guy who reads them on YouTube does an amazing job of it. He posts the pictures and everything, so I really do enjoy that. If I think about it, which I don't know if I will, but if I think about it, I will post a link to his YouTube channel down below. He does a really fabulous job of it. I really wish I remembered his name. It's something with a dad or a father or a something in the title. But yeah, he does a really good job reading them. But I did give this one, I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars because I remember this being my favorite when I was a kid because I loved theater and acting and everything about theater and acting. So when I was in like 4th and 5th grade when I was reading these books, probably shouldn't have been reading them that late in life, but 4th and 5th grade when I was reading these books, I was like, oh, this is me. I'm going to be on stage. I'm going to be famous. Which I didn't end up being famous, but I did end up being very successful in teaching other kids to have a passion for being on stage with dance, acting, and singing. But Stage Fright on a Summer Night, basically they go back to the Elizabethan time, Jack and Annie, and the Magic Treehouse takes them there, and they get cast in William Shakespeare's play, where Annie learns that women were not allowed to be in Shakespeare's plays back then, but Shakespeare makes a special exception for her. I mean, you can't even get better than that because kids' books are just amazing. The next book I read is Believe in You by the Cimarelli sisters. So that's Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, Lauren, and Danny Cimarelli. And yes, I love that her name is Danny too. I love the Cimarelli sisters because they have a sister named Danny. No, but they also have some amazing music. If you guys don't know them, they are a sister group who are on YouTube, and they do some amazing covers. They have some original songs. I've used a lot of their work for my dance program, for the dance program that I do at the studio. And I love their music. Their book I was a little iffy on. I did give it 3 out of 5 stars. So here's the thing. The book is a self-help book kind of for teenagers. It's basically big sister advice. So things that they wish that their big sisters had told them, or things that their big sisters had told them, and stuff like that. Which is great. It's great, and I'm glad that this book exists. However, some of the advice that they were giving was very privileged, white, Christian, straight teenage advice. So, and I have nothing against these girls. I know they're accepting people, and I know that they have a great community of followers who are different than them. But it was just a lot of like, oh, like, remember your family is always your best friend. Well, a lot of people live in a family that maybe couldn't be their best friend, you know? Like, I do love my family and I have a good relationship with my family, so I found a lot of their advice, like, great when it came to family stuff. But then they would also say stuff about money, like how you should save, like, so much of your paycheck and blah, 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 and, like, make sure you're tithing and stuff like that, because there was a Christian element to this book, I should add that. And I was like, I literally live paycheck to paycheck, so that's not it's not a possible lifestyle for me. And this book is geared more towards some late teen years. And the talking about dating and stuff like that, it was very much about boy dating, like girls dating boys, which as a gay woman I was not super happy about. But you know, it was cute. It was cute. I still love their music, and I do think that there is a market and a target base for this book. And you know what? I didn't even look at the publishing company. It is quite possible that the publishing company may have been Christian based, so they had to write certain things. I did not actually look at that, and that's something I probably should have checked into. But yeah, I would definitely say that if you have like a young preteen in your life who is Christian and is interested in boys and stuff like that, then this would be a good book for them. It just is not a wholly well-rounded book, which is why I only give it 3 out of 5 stars, because it just kind of was meh, like middle of the road meh for me. The next book I read was This Is Water by David Foster Wallace. I did listen to this in the speech form, but a book was turned into the speech was turned into a book form. So it is a book. I did listen to the speech kind of as I would listen to an audiobook. But I did still count it towards my reading because just it is a book. So, but I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. So basically, if you don't know This Is Water, it's just kind of, an essay that David Foster Wallace gave at, the Kenyan graduation ceremony. I think it was back in like the early 2000s he gave it. And it just talks about living a compassionate life and how changing your thinking process changes who you are as a person. So instead of like sitting in a long line and going, oh, everybody's so slow, and why can't these people go faster? Don't they know I'm in a hurry? Like, pick out a person or two and be like, oh, maybe that person really doesn't know if this is the right medicine that they're picking up or something, you know, like, I'm using like a pharmacy, I don't know, and like, they really need to talk to a pharmacist about it, or like, maybe that person has been up all night with their sick kid and they're just kind of lagging kind of thing. So it just teaches you how to live a compassionate lifestyle. I did give this 3 out of 5 stars. I am not a huge philosophical, let's talk about ways of thinking kind of person, but I do very strongly believe in living a compassionate lifestyle. And I think that that's something that everyone should kind of look at and not be so inward on themselves all the time and really turn selfless in times of frustration. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. Again, another just like meh thing for me. It wasn't like, holy cow, I'm so glad I'm reading this, but it was pretty good. The next book I read was Let It Snow, when I finally got to a book I can actually hold up for you. The other ones were all audio or ebook. But this is Let It Snow. It is by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. This book for me was a 2 out of 5 star because, so here's the thing. I kind of had to do some math here. With this book is the thing is I really enjoyed the first story. The first story made me really happy. So if you guys don't know, there are 3 stories in this book. It is about 3 different people who are stuck in the same snowstorm on Christmas Eve. And the first story was really good. I thought the character was funny. Basically her parents had gotten arrested for getting into a fight over one of those like Santa village things, that like you like set up kind of like a village in your house at Christmas and stuff like that. And she got into a fight over them. So she kind of stumbles her way through life and gets on a train, and the train crashes into snow, and she gets stuck in this town and blah 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 blah. Finally she leaves with a guy, and the guy takes him to his house, where she meets his mom, who is dead set on playing matchmaker for the 2 of them. So I actually really enjoyed that story, and that one was by Maureen Johnson, and I laughed so hard at some of the parts because I was like, that is so something that is so realistic, like that would definitely happen. Then I got into the John Green story, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even really remember what the John Green story was about. I do. It was about, basically a girl who's like a wicked tomboy. She hangs out with the boys. The boys find out that there's a bunch of cheerleaders that were stuck on the train that are now in the town at this Waffle House, which is kind of the connecting factor throughout the book, and they want to go spend time with the 14 cheerleaders, and the girl kind of gets dragged into it, even though she has a crush on one of the guys. Kind of a standard, typical love story, very, very standard John Green. And then the last story was probably my least favorite. Okay, so no, I think the John Green one was my least favorite. I'm just not a John Green person. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are, but I'm just not a John Green person. But the last one, the one by Lauren Miracle, was about a girl who is like super self-centered, super whiny, super just obnoxious, which is why I didn't like the book towards the end, was because I hate whiny, obnoxious characters. But basically, she is so self-centered that her friends are like, all right, do me a favor, pick up this teacup pig. One of the friends got a teacup pig, and she's super excited about it, and she's like, oh, pick up this teacup pig for me. And she's like, okay, I'll do that right at 9 o'clock so it doesn't accidentally get sold to somebody else, and she forgets because she's too caught up in her own drama and ends up getting sold to somebody else. So then she has to go track down the pig and try to explain her story and blah 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 blah. The funny parts and the cute parts were like the parts of the pig and like the very, very ending. So like this is like a second place to me because John Green's I didn't really like at all. Lauren Miracle, I just like the part with the pig, but the saving grace, which unfortunately was the very beginning, and it sucked me in like for the first 100 pages. So I was like, oh, now I'm stuck. But I didn't want to be stuck because I didn't like the rest of it, but was the one by Maureen Johnson. But again, like I said, I gave this 2 out of 5 stars, and it made me laugh, but it just kind of, like, a lot of it made me laugh, but also some of it was like, I was like, that was so dumb. Like, so that's why I had the low rating. The next book I read, another book I can actually hold up, is Catalyst by Lori Halls Anderson. So basically this book takes place in my area of New York. It takes place following her book Speak. It's not about the same characters as Speak, though Melinda is mentioned in it. But it's not like about Melinda or anything like that. This is about a girl named Kate Malone, who is a straight A student. She's a long distance runner. She's the Reverend's daughter. She's an amazing overall person, and she is waiting on her letter to MIT. Oh my goodness, there's something in my eye. Okay, but she's waiting on her letter to MIT to see if she got in. While she's in the middle of waiting for her letter, her neighbor's house burns down, and her neighbor is like her arch enemy, and they end up having to share a room with her neighbor and her little brother, and she hates everything. Basically, she's super whiny. This book broke me. I can't tell you anymore about why it broke me, because that would give away a huge plot twist. I thought I had this whole book figured out. I was like, this is going to be one of those meh books because I'm going to be like, oh, like, blah, 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 and this happens, and like, whoa, saw that coming right on the first page. But yeah, so, I did not do that. I actually ended up staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning last night, finishing it. And I spent about 2 more hours after that crying my eyes out. So that tells you what kind of book it is. So it was very emotional and probably not the right point in my life to be reading this book. But yeah, you guys, I mean, I will not give any more away, but if you want to know what happens, I would say maybe look up spoilers or look up the trigger warnings related to it. I don't want to say the trigger warnings on here because if you've seen my recent videos and stuff like that, you would kind of know what would be triggering kind of thing. Anyway, I don't want to give any more away about that book, but I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, just because I thought I had it all figured out, and then bam, did not have it figured out. Lori Halls Anderson is one of my favorite authors. I just was not mentally prepared for this book. So I still love Lori Halls Anderson, but I was just like, afterwards. It was more like, not so much a, but you know what I mean. And the last book I actually read today. It only took me a couple hours, but I wanted to finish off the year on a book with good ratings, a children's book, something sweet, something simple, and it ended up being a 4-star book for me, so I don't know why I'm saying it sarcastically. It just was not like my favorite book of the year, and I was kind of bummed because last year I ended on a really good book, and this year I landed on like a meh. Like, it's not a meh book, but I ended up reading The Little Prince. Please don't ask me how to say the author's name. You guys know who wrote The Little Prince. It's the French guy. You know that it's the French guy. I cannot pronounce his last name for the life of me. So yeah, so please don't make me say his last name. But I did just listen to it on audiobook. But basically it is about a little boy who ends up kind of journeying through different planets and stuff like that because he feels that this flower that he has, thought was like his 1 in a million flower, like it's the only flower of its kind, is kind of taking advantage of him, and he wants to go to kind of get away from it, but also figure out what to do with it and kind of thing. It's a very metaphorical book. I know it's classified as a children's book, but as an adult, I'm kind of reading this and it kind of has metaphors of death, has metaphors of like Jesus, it has metaphors of Christianity and historical events and selfishness and greed. And there's a lot of things in there that I feel like kids would not relate to that as an adult, I was like, holy cow. But yeah, it was a decent book. It was a decent end to the year. It just also, same as Catalyst, was not like the uplifting book that I was looking to end my year with. But I will do my best to start with an uplifting book in the new year, hopefully. But yeah, those are the 8 books. Did I say what I gave The Little Prince? I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think I said that. Okay. But anyways, those are the books that I read in 2019 for the month of December. And if you guys are interested, one of the next videos coming up, I believe it will be on New Year's Eve, I will post is my end of the year browsing through my book journal with me. And also, if you guys haven't watched it yet, I did post up my end of the year bookmark collection, like all the bookmarks I got by the end of this year, like I did last year. And I know a lot of you guys really like that video from last year, so please go check that out. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys all have a happy new year. I will see you on New Year's Eve. I will post that video that night, but if by chance I forget, have a happy new year, and I hope you all had a great holiday.